That's one of life's little coincidences. I never fear death. I think about it every day with a certain indifference.
Nothing scares you, Maestro. Not even the fascists.
And to think that I was once a friend of the great delinquent.
The great who?
I got to know Mussolini. I was even on his electoral slate. I supported him.
You supported Mussolini?
Say, yes, me. And it was a total disaster.
Remember, at the time, Mussolini was left of the Socialist Party. Very different from when he created fascismo.
Listen, I repented even before that criminal came to power in 22. 3 years before that, Walter and I attended one of his secret meetings. And Mussolini was speaking. He came over and tried to get me to join.
Mon Dieu.
Then...
Marinetti.
Marinetti.
Poeta futurista.
Si. He came over later. He persuaded me to put my name to the slate.
Seriously?
Yes. Everyone was surprised. People telephoned me. What? Toscanini with Mussolini? Yes, Toscanini with Mussolini. I'm sick of hearing everybody to talk, and doing nothing about it. When that opportunist swung from left to right, I openly turned against him. What a monster he was. As long as I was at La Scala, I refused to hang those mandatory portraits of Mussolini or the king. What a horrible period.
The fascisti were saying that Papa was unpatriotic. After all he'd done for Italy.
I had conducted the Anthem Italiano many times during the Great War to raise money for the war effort. And I conducted patriotic music with a military band on the front in 1917. We played on Monte Santo under enemy fire. But I would never play the Antifascista if my life depended on it. No, I've always said, the spine curves when the soul is curved.
You defied Hitler, too.
Oh, Hitler wrote to me after he came to power. He asked me to go back to Bayreuth to conduct his beloved Wagner. He honored me by saying that I was a representative of a country friendly to Germany, thinking that I was a loyal supporter of Mussolini. Unfortunately, things did not get better in Germany, and I refused to return. I had my principles. Unlike Furtwangler, that big clown and opportunist, he chose to conduct under the Nazi banner. What are men made of? Certainly not the courage of lions. What a bad race we are. It's always been that way, but it seems to be worse when our morals are tested. But giving up Bayreuth was the deepest sorrow of my career. I always tried never to tie art to politics. No matter how much it hurt, I refused to conduct in countries where there was no liberty. After leaving Bayreuth, I went to Salzburg, but then Hitler took over Austria too. Broke my heart when Italy adopted German racial laws. The regime refused the Jews' citizenship. It was medieval. And it got worse. Much worse. More than anyone could imagine.
But you never just stood by passively.
I don't know. I conducted a new orchestra in Palestine with Jewish musicians who had escaped persecution. I had to show my solidarity.
But you paid for it when Mussolini took your passport away.
He thought by taking away my passport, he would imprison me in Italy. But I said, take my passport. If I want to leave, I'll do it with or without one. And then there was diplomatic pressure from Washington and London. Mussolini was forced to give in. I left for Paris and then America. But the thought of leaving Italy forever was horrible. I remember conducting a performance of Tchaikovsky's Pathetic Symphony not long after leaving Italy, and suddenly I couldn't contain myself. Tears were flooding down my face. The darkness seemed impenetrable. I was ashamed of the air I breathed. I wanted to spit poison in the face of all mankind. And I thought of those poor young men who were going off to fight, who were fooled or forced to get themselves killed. And for whom? Not for their country, but for delinquents named Mussolini and Hitler. Mussolini got the death he deserved. He died even worse than Nero in ancient Rome. At least Nero had people to pay their last respects, but they hung Mussolini's dead body with his head downwards, and his poor, disgusting mistress strung beside him. And all of them, even that famous one who tried to deride me by calling me an honorary Jew.
Farinacci.
And he met a horrible death. The most moving moment of my career was on May the 11th, 1946. The reopening of La Scala after the war. I can't describe the emotion I felt. I was afraid of fainting on stage. I was so happy to be back in Italy, to have contact with my orchestra and my audience. But I didn't have the nerve to walk along the streets of Milano to see all the destruction from the war. The sight was too painful to bear. I went from my house to La Scala, nothing else. It was too painful.